Mistake 1, dismissing their pain. It's one of the most common parenting habits and often one of the most damaging. Your teen says, "I'm sad," and you respond, "You're just being dramatic." They say, "I'm anxious," and you say, "You have nothing to worry about." To you, it might sound like reassurance. You're trying to tell them that things aren't as bad as they seem. But to your teenager, it feels like you just invalidated their entire experience. When emotions are dismissed, teens don't stop feeling them, they just stop showing them. They start hiding how they really feel because they've learned that being honest about emotions leads to being judged, corrected, or mocked. They start bottling things up. They smile to avoid another lecture. They stay quiet because it's safer than being misunderstood. And over time, the bottle fills until one day, it cracks. Dr. Marsha Linehan, a well-known clinical psychologist and the creator of dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, found that emotional invalidation during adolescence can contribute to serious long-term struggles, like poor emotion regulation, impulsive behavior, and even borderline personality disorder. What this means in simple terms is, when a teenager is told too many times that their emotions don't matter, they stop trusting their own feelings. They grow up unsure of whether what they feel is right, and that confusion can follow them for life. Here's what many parents miss. Teens don't need you to fix everything. Most of the time, they just want to be heard. When they say, "I'm sad," they're not asking for a solution, they're asking for connection. When you immediately say, "Don't worry," or "You'll be fine," you accidentally shut that door. You make them feel like their emotions are a problem to get rid of, instead of a message to listen to. So the next time your teen says, "I'm not okay," pause before you answer. Resist the urge to fix. Instead, say something like, "That sounds really hard. Do you want to talk about it?" Or, "I may not understand everything you're feeling, but I'm here to listen." That's how trust is built. That's how emotional safety feels. You don't need the perfect words. You just need presence, quiet, patient, and real. Because when a teen learns that it's safe to feel around you, they won't need to hide their pain anymore. And when they stop hiding it, that's when healing begins. Mistake 2, comparing them constantly. It starts with good intentions. You want your child to do better, to push harder, to reach their full potential. So you say things like, "Your sister never talks back. Look at your cousin. He's already in med school." Or, "When I was your age, I worked twice as hard." You might mean it as motivation. But to a teenager, it doesn't feel like encouragement. It feels like rejection. When you compare them to others, a sibling, a cousin, a classmate, you're not inspiring them to improve. You're teaching them that who they are right now isn't enough. And that's a heavy message to carry through adolescence, when identity is still fragile and forming. According to research published in the Journal of Family Psychology, teens who grow up under constant comparison often develop lower self-esteem, higher levels of perfectionism, and more frequent symptoms of anxiety and depression. Because comparison doesn't spark growth, it sparks shame. It tells a young person that no matter how hard they try, someone else will always be the standard. So, slowly, they stop trying at all. You'll see it happen in small ways. They start avoiding showing you their report cards. They stop sharing their hobbies because it's not as impressive as their siblings. They stop dreaming out loud because every dream seems too small next to someone else's. And once that happens, even praise loses its power, because they don't believe it anymore. They think, "You're only proud when I win, not when I'm the me." Here's the truth. Teenagers don't need competition at home. They already live in a world that constantly compares them through grades, social media likes, college acceptance letters, follower counts. A home should be the one place where they can breathe without feeling like they're being measured. Mistake 3, ignoring your own example. You tell them to control their anger, but they've seen you slam doors when things don't go your way. You tell them to put the phone down, but you scroll through dinner, answering work emails, or checking social media. You tell them to open up, but you never show your own vulnerability. You see, teenagers don't listen to lectures. They study behavior. They watch tone, reactions, habits. They watch what you do when no one's watching. You can talk for hours about patience, discipline, honesty, or respect, but it's what you model that shapes them. A study from the University of Michigan's Institute for Social Research found that children and teenagers mimic parental emotional patterns far more than they follow spoken rules. If they see calmness in conflict, they learn regulation. If they see defensiveness, they learn avoidance. If they see honesty, they learn integrity. But if they see hypocrisy, they learn to hide. Think about this. You tell your teen not to raise their voice, but when they see you yelling at a driver in traffic, that's the lesson that sticks. You tell them to take breaks from screens, but you're answering texts during family time. You tell them to talk about feelings, but when you're stressed, you say, "I'm fine," and change the subject. It's not the words that shape them. It's the consistency between your words and your actions. Teens can spot inauthenticity faster than anyone. They can tell when advice doesn't match behavior. And when that happens, respect starts to fade, not because they hate authority, but because they lose trust in it. The truth is, your reflection is their roadmap. If you want them to be calm, show them what calm looks like under pressure. If you want them to be respectful, let them see how you treat people who disagree with you. If you want them to be honest, start by being human by admitting mistakes, saying, "I was wrong," or "I shouldn't have said that." Because that's what makes you real in their eyes. And teens don't need perfect parents, they need authentic ones. When they see you apologize after losing your temper, they learn that making mistakes doesn't destroy love. When they see you put your phone aside to listen, they learn that presence matters more than distraction. When they see you admit that you're struggling too, they learn that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. You don't need to have every answer. You just need to be the example you wish they'd follow. Because no rule book, no lecture, and no punishment can ever teach what one genuine moment of integrity can show. Mistake 4. Treating silence as disrespect. One day they stopped talking as much. They used to tell you everything what happened at school, what made them laugh, who said what. Now, their doors closed more often. Dinner conversations are shorter. You ask questions, they give one-word answers, and it hurts. You start wondering, why are they shutting me out? Did I do something wrong? Sometimes you even take it personally. You think it's rebellion, but often it's retreat. When teens stop talking, it's rarely about disrespect. It's about disconnection. They go quiet when they feel unheard. Every time they speak, it turns into a debate. When their opinions are met with lectures instead of curiosity. Silence, for a teenager, isn't an act of defiance, it's self-protection. It's their way of saying, "You don't really listen anymore, so what's the point in talking?" And the more you push, the more you demand answers, the tighter they close the door. Research from the University of Missouri found that when parents respond to teen disclosures with criticism or punishment, the likelihood of teens sharing again drops drastically. They learn it's safer to keep things to themselves, even when they need help. That's how the cracks in the bridge begin slowly, almost invisibly, until one day, the distance feels permanent. But it doesn't have to be. The way to rebuild that bridge isn't by demanding words, it's by offering safety. Ask softly. Listen without trying to fix, correct, or teach. Sometimes the best response isn't advice, it's silence that says, "I'm here, take your time." Because for a teenager, feeling heard is healing. It's the difference between shutting down and opening up. So when your teen goes quiet, don't assume it's disrespectful. Think of it as a signal that they're overwhelmed or tired or afraid of being misunderstood. Let them know they don't have to earn your attention by saying the right thing. Mistake 5. Using love as a reward. It often happens without us realizing it. We all want our kids to do well in school, in behavior, in life. So we encourage them. Do well in school. Be respectful. Make us proud. And when they succeed, the house fills with warmth. We smile, hug them, maybe even post about it online. But when they fail, when grades drop, tempers flare, or they don't meet expectations, the warmth fades. We get quiet. We sigh. We pull back emotionally, even if we don't say a word. To parents, it might just look like disappointment. But to a teenager, it feels like love has been taken away. That's how kids learn that affection must be earned. That they're lovable only when they're doing well. And that's one of the most painful lessons a person can carry into adulthood. Psychologists call this conditional positive regard. It's when love, praise, and attention are tied to performance. In one study published in the Journal of Personality, researchers found that children who were raised with conditional regard, meaning they received love mainly when they achieved or behaved well, were more likely to experience chronic guilt, perfectionism, and low self-worth as adults. In simple terms, they grow up believing that who they are is never enough, only what they achieve counts. These are the adults who can't relax even after success, who work endlessly but still feel anxious, who achieve one goal and instantly feel pressure to find the next. Because deep down, they're still chasing that same approval, the one they used to get from their parents only when they deserved it.